All right, gang, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Taco Tuesday over on PrizePicks, and we've got 12 NBA games to talk about, plenty of props, and plenty of different games for us to take a look at. Thank you so much for being here. My name's CJ. If you've never been here before, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We do live player prop research every single day here on YouTube, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button. We're trying to get to at least 100 likes by the end of today's live stream. And with your help, I know we can get there. Speaking of getting there, we surpassed 5,700 subscribers recently. We're on our way to the moon, to 6,000 subscribers. So yes, all your subs definitely go a long way in helping grow the channel out. Now, obviously yesterday there was no NBA action. The NBA took a step back. They let the NCAA guys take a step forward and had the spotlight all to themselves. And we had ourselves a great national championship game last night. Hopefully you guys took advantage of the free square that was running over on PrizePicks. Basically, Manic had to score just 1 point. And of course, he scored 1 point. So that's why they call it a free square. He got the job done. So hopefully you took advantage of that. And today, hopefully you'll take advantage of some discounted player props thanks to Taco Tuesday, the Tuesday promo that they run every single Tuesday on PrizePicks. So hopefully we'll get some opportunities to vote on some quality players and some quality props. They basically allow us, the members, to go out and vote on our favorite player. Then we get to choose the prop, and then they discount that prop, making it not a free square, but a much better chance of hitting, we'll say that. All right, so keep an eye on the official PrizePicks Discord channel. Make sure that you're a member of the PrizePicks Discord if you're not yet. And then you'll also want to keep an eye on their Twitter account. That's where they hold these votes for these discounted player props, the Taco Bar, as they like to call it. Now, something interesting happened over the weekend, and you guys can kind of see it here if you've updated your PrizePicks app on your mobile device. Me, of course, I'm mostly here on the PC, but you see this little red banner here. It says 2-pick flexes are no longer available. So they've gotten rid of the two-pick flex entry, meaning in the past you could take a guy like Joel Embiid and then you could put him with, Karis LeVert, and then you could flex that entry and you could double your money if both of those picks are correct. Now, if you got 1 out of 2 on a 2-pick flex entry, it would pay you back half of whatever you put in. So let's say you put $10 on a 2-pick flex entry, you got 1 out of 2 right, you would get $5 back. Or if you got both right, you would get $20 back. So that 2-pick flex entry, it's gone. It's no longer here. So they got rid of the 2-pick flex. But now the interesting part about the 3-pick flex is that if there's a tie or a DNP in your 3-pick flex, it now reverts to a 2-pick power play. And in case you're not familiar with how the 2-pick power play works, is basically you got to get 2 picks right. And when you do, you get 3 times your money back. So I put out a poll, a tweet over the weekend. I said, is there any merit, any type of credibility to taking a 3-pick flex entry and making sure you have at least 1 pick in that 3-pick flex that could push? In other words, you get 2 picks right. The third pick, let's say, ends up in a tie or a push. Well, then instead of 2.25x payout, which is what you get when you get 3 out of 3 right on a flex entry, you'd get a 3x payout by hitting 2 picks and getting 1 that ends up in a tie or a push. So what do you guys think? I'd like to hear your comments on this. Are you guys going to be playing more 3-pick flex entries? Maybe you're just going to stick to 2-pick power plays and lower your entry amount a little bit. I'd like to see what you guys think about this change. The 3-pick flex entry might be in a pretty interesting spot for me. I think I'm more incentivized to take some 3-pick flex entries, and like I said, include at least 1 pick in there that has the opportunity to push. I mean, it's a slim chance that it pushes, but a chance is better than no chance, right? And then that would revert back to a 2-pick power, and then again, you would get that 3x payout. So kind of interesting turn of events. The 2-pick flex, we salute you. You serve some of us well. I have been a 2-pick flexer in the past. I liked doubling my money up, but that's okay. I think we can live without the 2-pick flex entry. Are you feeling this 2-pick flex entry going away? Are you liking it? Are you disliking it? Do you care at all? Maybe you weren't ever flexing your 2-pick plays anyway. Maybe you were always 2-pick power on your 2-pick entries. I don't know. Just wanted to bring it to your attention in case you were unaware. When you see this little banner up at the top here, 2-pick flex entries are no longer available. 3-pick flex with a tie or a DNP will now revert to a 2-pick power. I thought that was kind of a little interesting move, turn of events. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get down to business here. And you know I can't start the show without saying hello to my people. To all of you lovely viewers, we've got Steph 3K in here. He says, another day, another dollar. Nick's Rashad for Life says, Taco Tuesday, let's go. Feel good to be back with the gang. Chef Curry, drop them gems for us. Well, you know we will. You know we'll have to go digging for some gems on today's huge NBA slate. Todd, Live for Sunday, says, I'm off to work, but I clicked the like for you, CJ. Good luck to everyone tonight. I'll watch when I get home. Hunter says, would love a Trae Young taco. That could be an interesting one. We'll have to keep an eye out on him. If he's up on the board, maybe we vote for some Trae Young today. Mark H says, what's up, CJ? Been on a downward spiral the last few days, but looking to get right. Glad to have the stream back and looking forward to that jingle. Banger alert. Last few days, PrizePicks has been very diligent, very aggressive with bumping props up, bumping props down. They've been tweaking some of their first half formulas a little bit. So you'll notice on some of the player props for first half only that they're not exactly half of whatever their full game prop is. In other words, a guy like Andre Drummond at 11.5 points, right? He should be at a different prop line. But I think they're putting him up at an even 6 points, where before they might have been putting him up at like 5.5 or something like that. But they got him at an even 6 today. You're noticing a lot more of these situations on the first half props where you could end up in a tie or a push on a lot of these. Pascal Siakam at 12, Kristaps Porzingis at 12, Anthony Edwards at 11. They weren't really doing this before with their first half point props, but it's something that they've been doing a lot more lately. So you could end up in situations where your props are pushing a lot more if you're taking some first half picks. Now, speaking of first half, obviously the last few days have been a little crazy, right? We've got teams that are trying to tank. In other words, they're trying to lose games on purpose. We've got teams that are in contention, but want to get some of their veterans, some of their starters, some rest before the playoffs get underway. So we've seen teams bench players out of nowhere. We've seen teams deactivate players, in other words, making them a DNP. We've seen some weird stuff like with the Detroit Pistons where we had, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They played like 8 minutes and never saw the floor from that point. Kind of just some weird stuff going on. So I think a lot of you guys have turned to more first half plays, which I can't really blame you. The other strategy is start targeting some games or some teams where these players and these these teams have something to play for. You know what I mean? Look at those picks and fade the rest of the crap. There's a lot of teams out there that don't want to win. My Orlando Magic, that's one of the teams who don't want to win. We saw Franz Wagner get like this phantom ankle sprain the other day in like the first few minutes. Then the same thing happened with Cole Anthony, some random injury out of nowhere for Cole Anthony. He missed the rest of the game. Just stay away from the teams that are trying to tank, trying to lose on purpose. That would be my advice to you. Stick to the guys and the teams that are playing for something, you know, whether it be an MVP award like Embiid, like Giannis, like Jokic, whether that be a play-in spot, whether that be a playoff seeding. Like, those are the types of players I think we need to start focusing on the rest of this week, at least until the playoffs start, because things have been kind of crazy lately. That Hunt Boy 92 says, "What's up, fam? Been waiting on this day since Sunday. Good morning to you, CJ, and the Patreon fam. New day. Time to get the money back from Sunday." Drew Brees is here. He says, "Glad to be back. What's good, Patreon gang? Who's ready to eat? You flex, I flex back." Another one of our Patreon members, Drew Brees, that Hunt Boy 92. I see you, folks. I see you. Everyday Fantasy says, "Good morning to the professor, Chef, CJ, Patreon gang, and the live stream. Let's have a great Taco Tuesday." Check in with the Discord if you're looking to win today. That's right. A lot of what we do is Discord. It's like 99% Discord. Patreon is just kind of a way to kind of manage the memberships and stuff. I mean, they go hand in hand. They're tied together. So if you join Patreon, you're going to spend more time in Discord than you probably will on Patreon, because that's where the conversation, the strategy, the picks are being shared, and you know, that's where we come together as a community, is inside Discord, not so much on Patreon. But yes, you have to join Patreon in order to get access to the Patreon only Discord channels. So Blake McCook says, "What's up, Chef Curry, and happy Taco Tuesday to all. Let's get this money." Chris Smith, I see you as well. Lots of Patreon members up in here this morning. Rusty Bearings, what's good, CJ? It's a good day to have a great day. Aaron Rogers says, "Big weekend, and we're hungry for more." Can't blame you there. Leroy's in the building. Let's go. Corey, another day we get to play some daily fantasy sports. Life is good. Absolutely, Corey. Desmond's in here. Another one of our Patreon members. What's up, familia? Kevin's here. He says, "Taco Tuesday gives me the stress farts." Ooh, you need some Pepto or something for that. Stress farts. Rashawn Prather says, "CJ, what's up? Hopefully everything is great. Let's get it." Yep, we're back to work, my friend. We're back to work. Ari's in the building. Shout out to you. Kyle, been super cold the last week. Need a hot streak. Let's get it, CJ. Smash that like button. Ronald's Green's in the building. What's up to you? Effing Props guy was holding it down in the Patreon Discord, man. He was holding it down in the NHL channel yesterday. I saw some people cash because of the rock solid research that effing Props guy was putting forward. So appreciate you. Thank you for being part of the community, man. You're doing great work in the NHL channel. Thanks for holding it down. Wayne Wicked says, "Let's get that money, King." What's up, Curry gang? Let's get to that bag. Trill Fate's in the building. S Little 86, what's good, YouTube chat? Excited to get back to these NBA games. Can't blame me there, man. I missed it. S Little 86, Patreon gang. What's good? What's good to you, brother? What's good to you? Who else we got here? Wiggy's in the building. Good morning to you, Mr. Josh Wigginton. Jeremy Lanoy, hello everyone. I need to get paid, so I'm looking to CJ and the peeps to help me with the money. All right. We'll see what we could do. Kev says he doesn't flex. He's a power player. Drew Brees says, "I am the 3-pick flex killer. I also benefited off of a push last night." There you go. Trill Fate says 2-pick flexes were good when you have to take a certain number of entries to win a bigger prize after. Got you. Wiggy says that he's sticking to the 2-pick power plays 98% of the time. Aaron Rodgers says he's flexing a 2-pick. Flexing a 2-pick was weird anyways. Yeah, kind of weird, I guess. It was the safest way to play. I mean, doubling your money has been a staple in the daily fantasy sports community for a long time. If you're a DraftKings or FanDuel player, you know what I'm talking about. There was those cash games, those double ups where you would enter in those were kind of like your bread and butter plays, and then you would enter in some GPP lineups. So that's kind of how I looked at the 2-pick flex, as like a double up type of thing, or a 50-50 cash game style way to play on PrizePicks. But kind of interesting move that they got rid of that, I thought. So Accolade Rhyme says, "My plan won't work no more. 2-pick flexes are unavailable. It's all my fault. I feel responsible." Well, try some 3-pick flexes. And like I said, throw one of those picks out there that might end up in a tie or push, and then you got a chance at 3x. Could be kind of an interesting strategy. Duncan W says, not much changes for me personally. 2-pick powers are my style. I feel you. Justin, what's up? Thanks for being here. Bankroll Reed says a 2-pick flex is scared money. Scatman Do says smash the likes. Appreciate that. Scatman Do. Lutz says let's get this money. I hit a couple last night. College player props. Good for you. Good for you. Jonathan, what's up? Thanks for being here. Let's see. David says 2-pick flex was the bankroll builder. It's not scared money. It's profit. I just paid for a vacation on 2-pick flexes. Shout out to you. Yeah, I mean, it's the grinder's way to play, right? The 2-pick flex was, you take the safety net away now with the power, but you get a 3x instead of a 2x when you hit your 2 for 2. So interesting though, to get your perspective, to get some of your thoughts. Your thoughts on the change to the 2-pick flex being sunsetted, right? Michael Johnson in the building. Good morning to you. Shout out to you. Thanks for being here. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. If I missed anyone, well, apologies. I love you guys, but we have a lot to talk about. So let's start getting into it, right? Ton of different NBA games, lots of different props to discuss. We're going to start it off against a really good team versus a really bad team. 7 p.m. tip-off between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Indiana Pacers. This one has a total of 234 points, but the spread at 11.5 means that this game has serious blowout risk here. So if you're going to play anybody from this game, make sure that you're playing somebody who's going to have a heavy hand in a blowout. So obviously for Philadelphia, that'd be the likes of like Joel Embiid, probably James Harden to a lesser degree, but otherwise, I don't know that I'm super interested in this game other than maybe some Embiid props. Over on the Indiana side, they're not really trying to win any basketball games. They're 25-54 at this point. The best thing for them to do is lose games, continue to lose games, and improve their chances at one of the top draft picks. But Goga Batadze, Chris Duarte, and Malcolm Brogdon are game time decisions, so keep an eye on those three if you're interested in playing any Indiana Pacer props. At 7 o'clock, we also have the Cleveland Cavaliers visiting the Orlando Magic. 219 points between these two teams, an 8-point spread. Evan Mobley is out, as is Dean Wade, Jarrett Allen, and Colin Sexton. Those guys have been out for a number of days, though nothing new there. On the Orlando side, you've started to see their starting lineup deteriorate before your very eyes. So if you look at the backcourt for Orlando, you will not see Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs. In fact, you're going to see Devin Kennedy, who was just brought up from their G League affiliate team. RJ Hampton, who was like the 4th point guard on the depth chart. You've got Ignas Brazdeikis starting at small forward. No Franz Wagner in there. Chuma Okeke is starting. No Wendell Carter Jr. In fact, the only guy that is, I guess, a mainstay is Mo Bamba. He's about the only player that you're going to recognize that's in the starting lineup. I don't expect Orlando to start any of these guys, Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, or Jalen Suggs. There's really not a whole lot for them to gain. They again, are like many teams right now who want to continue to lose. They're 20-59. They've got a real shot at one of the top 3 picks, whether that be Smith, whether that be Holmgren. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's Banchero. Did I say his name right? Banchero of Duke. Maybe they go that route, but that's what they're looking for. The Orlando Magic are looking for a good draft pick. At 7:30, we've got Houston at Brooklyn. I've seen a lot of people talking this game up already for a good reason. It's got a 244.5 point total. Huge total. Might be the highest scoring game on the slate. I'd have to double check, but 17-point spread. We expect Brooklyn to mop the floor with the Houston Rockets, but that doesn't mean that there aren't some good props for us to take a look at. Now, on Houston's side, we already know that Eric Gordon, Dennis Schroeder, Christian Wood will not play the rest of the season. Again, Houston, another one of those teams who are currently tied with Orlando for some of the worst records in the league. They're both 20-59. They both want to lose And they probably both will lose tonight, let's be honest. Over on the Brooklyn side, Seth Curry is a game time decision. And then you've got Johnson as a game time decision as well. So yeah, don't be surprised if Brooklyn blows out Houston. But again, this is one of those games where, you're going to take somebody from the Brooklyn side in a full game format. You might want to take Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Those guys are typically going to get theirs in a blowout type of situation. 7:30, we got the Charlotte Hornets at the Miami Heat. 227 points between these two ball clubs. 5.5-point spread. Looks like everybody for Charlotte is healthy. They've just got Gordon Hayward back recently, so they've got their full rotation, full complement of players. Over on the Miami side, Kyle Lowry, Morris, Dedmon, Martin, Tucker, and Vincent, all game time decisions. So keep an eye on the Miami Heat. This game does look like it's going to be a nice one as far as scoring goes, and then you've got a spread of just 5.5, so hopefully it stays close and competitive, but we do have some question marks on the Miami Heat side of things, so make sure you're paying attention to that. Now, the 7:30 tip-off between the Atlanta Hawks and the Toronto Raptors, 226 points with a 4-point spread, so another one with a pretty nice healthy total. Another one where these two teams have something to play for. It's just a 4-point spread. So this could be a fun game. We've got Gallinari and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogdan Bogdanovic. Got my Bogdanoviches screwed up there. But Gallinari and Bogdanovic, both game time decisions. Keep an eye on both of those guys. If either one sits or if both sits, I think that benefits the likes of DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Herter. John Collins is still out for Atlanta. No timetable for him to return. Over on the Toronto side, we've got OG Anunoby, game time decision. If he's out, then Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet, and Pascal Siakam would probably absorb some of that usage. So that should be a pretty good one for us to target. 8 o'clock, Washington Wizards at the Minnesota Timberwolves, 237.5 points. Pretty juicy total, but the spread is 12.5 points, meaning, again, blowout alert. Kyle Kuzma out for Washington still. On the Minnesota side, we've got McDaniels as a game time decision. So keep an eye on the injury news from that game. But at 12.5 points, man, I don't know. That one's creeping me out a little bit. If you're going to play anybody, it's going to be like a Karl Anthony Towns, maybe an Anthony Edwards, maybe Kristaps Porzingis or somebody like that. I don't know. Usually I only like to play the team that's going to do the blowing out, not the team that's going to get blown out. So I don't know if that I'm interested in Porzingis and company. But anyway, 8 p.m. tip-off between the Portland Trail Blazers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Listen, these are both two teams who have nothing going for them. They have nothing to really play for. They want to lose. The total's 222. The spread's 4.5. I mean, you could go here if you want to, but look at all of the injuries on both sides of this, man. I mean, you're trusting guys like Isaiah Roby, Pokashevsky, Aaron Wiggins, Theo Maledon, like with your money. You're going to trust those guys with your money? I don't know. I'm staying away from a game like this more than likely. Drew Eubanks has been decent for Portland. Maybe you go there. CJ Ellaby, he's been in the starting lineup for a while now. Brandon Williams has had some, high spots, games where he's played pretty good, but I just don't know that I want to trust anybody from this game. So it's probably going to be a big old fade for me. Now, this game could be interesting. Milwaukee at Chicago. Tip-off at 8 o'clock. 234 points between two teams duking it out in the Eastern Conference. 5.5-point spread. No real crazy injury news for either squad. Obviously, Lonzo Ball continues to sit for Chicago. He's probably the biggest piece of injury news. But otherwise, both of these teams running at almost 100%. So that will be a fun game to target. 234 points. Love that. Love the fact that it's 5.5 points. So that will be a game that we should probably look at some props from. 9 p.m. San Antonio versus Denver. 234 points between these two ball clubs. 9.5-point spread. Could creep into a blowout, especially when you consider that DeJounte Murray is out for the San Antonio Spurs. If he was in, I would say this game has a chance to stay close and competitive, but he is out. Apparently, he's been dealing with some sort of illness. Nothing really new going on with Denver in terms of injury news there, but I do like the total. I'm just a little concerned with the spread. So, if I'm playing anybody from this game, it's probably going to be on the Denver side, and it would probably be a guy like Nikola Jokic, maybe a little Aaron Gordon. He's been playing well, so that'll be one to keep an eye out on. 9 p.m. Memphis at Utah. 224 points between these two teams. Not the highest scoring game in the world, but decent. with a 5-point spread. Dillon Brooks is a game time decision. Ja Morant still out for Memphis. And then on the other side, nothing real crazy happening. It's pretty much their normal starting lineup of Conley, Mitchell, Bogdanovich, O'Neal, and Gobert for Utah. So maybe you take some props from that game. 10 o'clock tip-off. Again, the New Orleans Pelicans travel to the Sacramento Kings, 225.5 points with a 7.5-point spread. Joe Val is the biggest piece of injury news here. He is a game-time decision. We're not sure if Valanciunas will play or not. On the other side, yes, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, those guys continue to sit for Sacramento. At this point, they don't really have a whole lot to play for. They're just trying to develop guys like Davion Mitchell, get them some run out there. You got poor Harrison Barnes, who's a veteran. He's kind of stuck having to play, even though he probably would like to join De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis on the sidelines. He can't. But maybe he comes up with some sort of phantom injury in the coming days and they start getting him some rest here as the regular season comes to a close. But yeah, I don't know if I'm super interested in that game. Maybe one or two props from there. But last game of the night, Los Angeles Lakers at the Phoenix Suns. The door or window is starting to close on the Los Angeles Lakers and their postseason hopes. I don't know if the Lakers are going to get into the playoffs, gang. Let's just be honest. It's been a disappointing season if you're a Lakers fan. Things have not materialized, have not come together like they hoped that it would when they brought Russell Westbrook in. There's reports now that Frank Vogel's going to be fired. Oh, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. 232.5 points between these two teams. Phoenix is a 12-point favorite at home, as they should be, with their 62-16 record. One of the best, if not the best teams in the league right now. Game time decisions for both Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I would expect both of these guys to play, try to finish strong. I don't think they're going to win versus Phoenix. Even if they are in, I just don't like their chances of winning this game. So otherwise, Phoenix is going to have their full starting lineup. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and our guy, Big DeAndre Ayton. So there you go, man. That is all the games, all the props. All right. That's what's going down, man. There's a lot of games. So you guys start letting me know if there's any points props that you guys want me to take a look at. Leave them for me now. I'll refresh the PrizePicks board here and make sure that we have all the latest points props, because PrizePicks be bumping. They be bumping up. They be bumping down. PrizePicks is all about the bumps. I'm going to show you guys a new little tool that I discovered recently. It's a freebie, something that you could go take advantage of and look at for free. We're going to talk about that. But of course, we're going to be using props.cash to identify some trends. Who's been hitting their overs at the highest hit rates over the last 10 games. Again, we'll be starting off with points. So if you do not use props.cash yet, at this point in the season, it's probably best to do the monthly subscription. Just going to be honest with you. If you want to take advantage and sign up for props.cash for your NBA playoff research, use the link down in the description below. You'll get 25% off your first month of props.cash. Now, while you're down in the description below, you can also check out the links for the Discord. Free Discord in there. We just gave out 9 free Patreon memberships for the month of April. We've got some members in there that wanted to sponsor new members. So we're giving out free Patreon memberships in Discord. We give out free entries every single Friday to win real money on PrizePicks. So the Discord's completely free. If you want to be a part of the community, the month is still early. We're only in our 5th day in the month of April. So if you want to join a PrizePicks focused community, Patreon's down there for you to join. It also helps support me as a content creator. So links to everything down in the description below. All right, looking at the points props. We're going to be looking at points, last 10 games, see who's been hitting at the highest hit rates. Starting things off, we got Keldon Johnson leading the way at 20.5 points. He's got an 80% hit rate. Rudy Gobert at 13.5 points, 70%. Joining Gobert at 70%, Miles Bridges, Donovan Mitchell, LaMelo Ball, Nikola Jokic, Bruce Brown, and Andre Drummond. So a lot of people hitting their points props at a pretty high clip, 70%. From there, we got a lot of people hitting at 60%. Guys like Zach LaVine, Bogdanovich, Trae Young, Drew Holiday, Clint Capella, Devin Vassell. Kevin Huerter, Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Davion Mitchell. All of those guys hitting at a 60% hit rate. Now from there, it gets down to the 50%. We ain't really going to spend too much time looking at those. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of your favorite points props. I see Wayne Wickeds mentioning Kyrie Irving for points, Nikola Jokic for points. I'm guessing he's talking about Aaron Gordon for points. So, yeah, we got a number of different points props being thrown out there. We're going to take a look at, let's start with Kyrie Irving, because somebody mentioned Kyrie Irving at 27.5. They're like, dang, his points prop seems kind of high. But we have to consider the opponent. It's the Houston Rockets, right? So Kyrie Irving has shown 60-point upside in some of his games before against the Orlando Magic, namely. So let's take a look at Kyrie today. He's at 26.5 by default on Prop.Cash, but we bump him up to 27.5 like he is on PrizePicks. You kind of get an idea. His hit rates stay the same, 40% hit rate. Over the last 10 games, though, he is averaging 30.1 points. That's a little deceiving because he's had 50, 60, 43. So those big performances are really inflating his points total. Looking at the last 5 games for Kyrie at 27.5, you can see he's gone 1 for 5. Just a 20% hit rate. The last time that he went over was against the Atlanta Hawks, which was just 3 days ago, where he dropped 31 points against the Hawks. So although the number does seem high at 27.5, we know the Houston Rockets not very good defensively. Speaking of the Rockets, you can see that Kyrie has never played the Rockets this season. So this will be the first time that he faces off against the young backcourt of Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. Houston's defense, 30th in total points allowed, which is dead last. They're allowing more points to opposing teams than any other team in the NBA. Field goal percentage, they rank 30. 3-point percentage, 20th. 3-point field goal percentage, 16th. Free throws allowed, 27th. And against point guards, they are dead last, 30th against opposing point guards. Now, we're also going to look at the DVP chart. This DVP chart is brought to you by Fantasy Pros, which is totally free for you guys to access. Just go out to Google, type in FanDuel NBA defense versus position, and then this chart should pop right up. We're going to look at the last 7 games today. We're going to go to the point guard position. And then we're going to go find the Houston Rockets. We don't have to go down very far because they are giving up about 27 points per game to opposing point guards. That is the third most or third highest point per game average to opposing point guards. So like I said, very easy matchup, very friendly matchup for Kyrie Irving. We'll call it a plus or green matchup. Now, I said that I wanted to show you guys a new tool. This tool is over on RotoWire. It is completely free for you to check out. You can use this for a number of different sports, whatever sports that they have props for. In this case, we're going to be looking at some NBA, so we can uncheck some of these other ones. And then you just click Generate Rankings. Generate Rankings. So this is out on RotoWire. You can find this on RotoWire. And then you basically just search for whatever player you're looking for. So in this case, we're looking for Kyrie Irving, and we want to look at his points, right? His points line is 27.5, so it automatically pulls in the PrizePicks line, 27.5. And then you can see what the RotoWire projection is for Kyrie Irving. They got him projected for 28.3 points, which is about a 3.2% difference versus the PrizePicks line of 27.5. So there you go. Completely free tool, something new that they're doing over on RotoWire for you guys to check out. Doesn't cost you a dime to access any of this information, but yeah, Kyrie Irving, 27.5. You can see he's projected for 28.3 on RotoWire, and then it shows you what type of edge or difference, which is 3.2%. So there you go. A little bit about Kyrie Irving for you. Let's take a look at some of these other points props that you guys want me to take a look at. So we took one from Wayne Wicked, which was Kyrie Irving's points. I see a couple people talking about some Nikola Jokic. Obviously, he's been playing really good ball lately. He is an MVP type of candidate, right? He's going up against the San Antonio Spurs. He's at 29.5 points today. So let's take a look at Joker using Props.Cash. So we'll start things off by typing in his name. We click in. Then we pull up his pretty little last 10 game charts here. Now, by default, he's going to be at 28.5 on props.cash. What you do is you use this little slider, you bump it up a couple times to get to 29.5. Now you can see his hit rates are 60% when he's at 29.5. Now, the last 5 games have been especially good for Jokic. Even at 29.5, he's been covering his prop in 4 out of 5, or 80% of the games. In the last 10, he's averaging 31.6 points. In the last 5, he's averaging 34.8 points. We could also take a look at previous games against the Spurs. He's played them 3 times this season. He's covered in 2 out of 3 games, averaging over 29 points per game in those contests, 29.7 to be exact. So he has been hitting his prop more often than not versus the Spurs. Now, another thing that I've been looking at are the splits. In this case, Jokic is playing at home in front of the Denver crowd tonight. So let's take a look and see, does he hit at a higher hit rate when he plays at home or when he's on the road? So at 29.5 points, we'll look at home first. He's got a 29% hit rate covering his points at home. On the road, at 29.5 points, a 26% hit rate. So not really a big splits guy, meaning he doesn't really score significantly better at home versus on the road. Now, looking at this matchup, the Spurs defense, not very good. We see a lot of green on the board. They're giving up the 24th most total points, 21st in field goal percentage allowed, 16th against opposing centers. So not too worried about this matchup here. Like we discussed already, he's already covered this prop in 2 out of 3 meetings versus the Spurs this season. So then the next thing we do is look at the center spot. We go down and we find the San Antonio Spurs. We go all the way down to the bottom because over the last 7 games, they are giving up the 6th fewest points per game to the opposing centers. Just 19.6 points allowed. So they're holding centers to under 20 points per game over their last 7 games. So 6th fewest points allowed. So doesn't look like a walk in the park when you consider the matchup on paper here. But of course, like I said, Jokic vying for the MVP, he is going to be just fine. He's going to have every opportunity in the world to potentially hit the over on his prop. All right, so back to this free RotoWire tool that I've discovered here recently. When we look at the points, he's at 29.5 on PrizePicks, obviously. They've got him projected for 26.9 points, so they suggest that the under is the way to go. It's an 8.8% difference. His PrizePicks line at 29.5, their projection at 26.9. That's an 8.8% difference. So what do you think, gang? Are you guys going over or under on Nikola Jokic? He is a point higher on PrizePicks versus some of the sports books out there at 28.5. So kind of interesting situation there, you know. Usually we get a little bit of value where we can feel good about taking the over, but might be a little tougher today. Might be a little tougher. Let's see. Cam is asking about Donovan the Spider Mitchell. He's at 26.5 points. He's playing a Memphis Grizzlies team that is obviously without Ja Morant. So let's take a look at Donovan Mitchell here. I'll take a couple more points props probably after this one, and then we'll move on and talk about some other props. But by default, he's at 26.5 already on props.cash. Now, over the last 10 games, he had been scoring pretty well, but the last 5, things get kind of shaky here. 70% in the last 10, but just a 40% hit rate in his last 5. He went over against the Los Angeles Clippers. He also went over against the Los Angeles Lakers. So maybe he's got something against teams from LA. But anyway, yeah, he's come close in a number of these games. Golden State, he finished with 26, close but no cigar. Same situation versus Charlotte, 26 points. Another close, but close doesn't cut it in this case. All right, versus Memphis this season, he's only played them once. It was way back in November at the beginning of the season. He had just 18 points versus the Grizzlies in that game. And then we could also take a look at the splits for Donovan Mitchell. He's going to be playing at home tonight. So at home this season, 52% hit rate. On the road this season, 53% hit rate. So he is not really a big splits guy. He doesn't benefit, in other words, from playing at home versus on the road. Looking at this matchup, the Memphis Grizzlies defense, kind of more in the middle of the pack on a lot of these defensive metrics. The ones that really stand out to me is that they rank third against opposing shooting guards. So it might be somewhat of a tough matchup for Donovan Mitchell here. Speaking of matchup, let's go to the shooting guard spot. Let's take a look at how many points per game that Memphis has been giving up to opposing shooting guards over the last 7 games. We go all the way down to the bottom here because they are giving up the 7th fewest points per game to shooting guards at just 19.1. 19.1. So he needs 27. They're giving up 19.1. Obviously, we know that Donovan Mitchell is super talented, right? He could overcome what looks like a difficult matchup on paper. Moving forward here, we got Mitchell projected for 23.8 points, which is quite a big difference versus his line at 26.5. He is projected for almost 10% fewer points by RotoWire versus his line of 26.5 out on PrizePicks. So again, you can check out this tool for free. You just go to rotowire.com/daily/prize-picks.php. And you can get access to this prop comparison tool that's for free out there on RotoWire. Here's one that we have not discussed yet. Zach LaVine. I think he could be an interesting play. He's going up against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. He's at 22.5 points. Let's take a look at Zach LaVine. This will be a fun game. We talked about it already. Bulls, Bucks. Both of these teams, 2 of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. They should come out looking to beat the brakes off of one another. At 23.5 points by default on props.cash, we nudge him down to 22.5, and you can see over the last 10 games, his hit rates really don't change a whole lot. 60% still, even at 22.5. Looking at his averages, he's averaging 24.7 points per game for the season, 25.1 in the last 10, 24 in the last 5, and against Milwaukee this season, he's averaging 25.5. So he's faced the Bucks twice. Back on March 4th, dropped 30 points on their heads. And then March 22nd, more recently, had just 21 points. But when you average those two games together, you're left with 25.5 points per game average versus the Bucks this season. We're also going to take a look at the splits for Zach LaVine. He's playing at home tonight. Let's see if he hits at a significantly higher or lower hit rate at home versus on the road. So at home, at 22.5 points, a 63% hit rate. Not too shabby at all. Worth noting, the game that he did cover against Milwaukee where he had 30 points, that was a home game. That was in Chicago. And we also look at the away splits here at 22.5 points. He's actually a better hitter on the road at 71% hit rate on the road. But that wouldn't make me fade him at all. I still think that he is a viable play today. Moving down here, this Milwaukee Bucks defense, 18th in total points allowed. They rank 30th in 3-pointers allowed and just 26th against opposing shooting guards. So he'll likely draw either Wes Matthews or Drew Holiday on defense. That's what I'm expecting anyway. So both of those guys, pretty good defenders in their own rights. Looking at the shooting guard spot here, we're going to look at shooting guard and small forward because the way that the Bulls run their lineups, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are kind of both wing players, so they kind of slot in at the small forward, power forward spot sometimes. But we'll look at shooting guard and small forward here and see how many points that the Bucks are giving up to both positions. So Milwaukee against opposing shooting guards in the last 7 games are giving up about 21 points per game. Not terrible as far as matchup, not the worst, but not great either. Looking at the small forward spot, Milwaukee giving up about 23 to 24 points per game. So LaVine, again, sometimes he slots in at that small forward position. When they go Caruso, DeSumo at the guard spots, then LaVine and DeRozan at the forward spots. And then obviously that leaves Vucevic at center. That's why I look at both shooting guard and small forward when discussing Zach LaVine. And finally, we're going to be using this free tool once again to look at Zach LaVine's points. 23.5 on PrizePicks. His projection today, 23.6. So it's just a 0.6% difference, the PrizePicks line versus the RotoWire projection. So they favor the over, slightly over at 23.6. So there you go. Well, actually, I take that back. Let's refresh here because they've got Levine's line at 23.5. He is at, oh, there it is. There it is. We had to refresh. Levine is no longer at 22.5. He is now at 23.5, gang. Like I said, lines be bumping. Lines be moving. Anyway, so he's at 23.5 on PrizePicks. He is at 23.6 projected points using this RotoWire tool. So let's get one more point prop in there. We've talked about some really good ones, I think, so far. Let's talk Jalen Green. Jalen Green, not too long ago, was at 22.5 points. He has since seen his points prop swell to 25.5, but for good reason, and you'll see why in just a moment. So let's pull Jalen Green up here. 25.5 points over on PrizePicks. Now, Props.Cash by default has him at 23.5 points. At 23.5 points, you can see that the betting public taking the over, minus 118 at 23.5. But 25.5 starts to get a little bit rich, man. A little bit rich. Now, the last 10 games, you're going to look at these and you're going to be like, dang, it's kind of like a tale of two halves, right? The first half of the last 10 games, just okay. But pretty much ever since they've taken the reins off of Jalen Green, they've sat the likes of Christian Wood, Eric Gordon, Dennis Schroeder. Jalen Green has been going off. So let's just take a look at the last 5 games for him because that's when things really start to look very good for Green. Now, we do have to bump him up 25.5 like he is over on PrizePicks. But even when we do that, an 80% hit rate is nothing to bat your eye at. I mean, 30 against San Antonio, 32 against Sacramento, another 33 against Sacramento, and 31 against Minnesota. So in the last 5 games, he's averaging a very healthy 30.2. His line even at 25.5. Totally doable, right? The Brooklyn Nets, I don't know that they're known for playing tough defense. They're probably best known for just outscoring you with the likes of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So defensively, I'm not too worried about them. They rank just 28th against opposing shooting guards. They do rank 25th in free throws allowed, so maybe you look at some free throw props for Jalen Green or any other Houston Rocket. And then they rank 21st in total points allowed to opposing teams. We already talked about the total from this game being 244.5, but Brooklyn is a 17-point favorite at home. So just be careful with Jalen Green here in a blowout type of scenario. As far as shooting guards go, Brooklyn Nets over the last 7 games giving up over 23.3 points per game to opposing shooting guards. Obviously, that puts them close to the top of the list here. For example, Washington giving up 28 points, Brooklyn giving up 23. So that's the team giving up the most versus Brooklyn at 23.3. You know, gives you an idea of kind of where they rank. Right outside the top 10 most points over the last 7 games given up to shooting guards. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at a projection here. Jalen Green's points, 25.5 on PrizePicks, but he's projected on RotoWire for just 20.6 points. So they expect Jalen Green to go under 25.5. Now that's a difference of about 19%. That's pretty significant. Of course, this is just one site that provides projections. You could also check a site like NumberFire. They're totally free for you to look at. Betting Pros is another one to take a look at, but that's a pretty significant difference there. 25.5 points versus 20.6. Again, a 19% difference between the two. Are you guys taking the over or under on Jalen Green? I know a lot of people want to take the over on Jalen Green, but as I mentioned before, his points prop line at 25.5 has really started to climb. Recently. So there you go. All right, let's move on from points. We got to cover some assists. You guys start leaving me your favorite assist props. I'll pull up the trends for you using Props.Cash, looking at the guys who are hitting at the highest hit rate. Holler at your boy. let me know about your favorite assist props. Now, as far as trends go, we got 4 guys hitting their assist props at an 80% hit rate. That includes the likes of Drew Holiday at 6.5, Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota T-Wolves at 3.5. We got Scotty Barnes at 3.5, Kristaps Porzingis at 2.5. From there, a couple of guys hitting at 70%, including Keldon Johnson of the Spurs, Darius Garland of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then from there, a whole long list of players hitting at 60%, including Jokic, Brown, Vassell, Gordon, Mitchell, Middleton, Siakam, Durant, Van Vliet, and Rozier. Those are all your 60% guys. And then it goes down to 50% from there. Joe Rabbit, what's up, my friend? We'll definitely take a look at some Drew Holiday's assist props. Kevin's mentioning both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving for assists. Let's start off with KD because we did not talk about KD for points, although we could have. Obviously, the matchup's good against Houston. We don't really have to tell you that. We know the Houston Rockets not going to be a very tough team defensively. But it seems like some of you folks are more on Kyrie Irving tonight at 27.5 points than Kevin Durant at his point prop. So let's talk about Kevin Durant's assist prop instead. KD been getting the job done at 6.5 assists at a 60% hit rate. Let's see what he's been up to at 6 assists. So we punch his name into props.cash over the last 10 games. Kevin Durant at 6.5 assists, we said 60%. If we bump him down to 6 assists, you can see over the last 10 games he's hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10, meaning he's had 6 or more in 7 out of his last 10 games. That's a 70% hit rate. Not too shabby. Not too bad at all. So if you really do believe that Kyrie is going to be the man when it comes to scoring tonight, maybe Kevin Durant is on the business end of some of those assists. He's averaging 6.1 for the season, over 7 assists in his last 10 games, and 6.2 in his last 5. He's shown upside of 11 dimes against Milwaukee, 10 dimes against Dallas. So we know that Kevin Durant could absolutely have 6 assists pretty easily here if he wants to. Again, he has not played the Houston Rockets at all this season, which is also the case for Kyrie, like we talked about before. Houston's defense, they give up the 25th most assists allowed, giving up over 25.7 dimes per game to opposing teams. So matchup is definitely right for Kevin Durant. So we're going to go to the power forward spot. We're going to look at the assist category because Kevin Durant spends a lot of time at the power forward position. We look at the average here, which is 4.8, and you're going to be like, man, 4.8, he needs at least 6, but I wouldn't be too worried about the number. I would be more worried about the ranking because we know Kevin Durant is an above average player, meaning just because the averages are 4.8 and that's what Houston allows, doesn't mean Kevin Durant can't go above that average. So 5th most assists given up to opposing power forwards in the last 7 games. Let's also look at the small forward spot. Houston to small forwards giving up about 3.6 assists per game. But for my money, Kevin Durant's more of a power forward these days than a small forward, especially for this Brooklyn squad. So last but not least, we're going to punch Kevin Durant's name into RotoWire. And at 6 assists, he is projected for 6.7. And you can see that's a difference of 12.1%. So they've got him at 12.1% more assists than where he's at 6, according to PrizePicks. So pretty nifty tool here on RotoWire. Definitely recommend you check it out. Could add a new element to your player prop research. Totally free too. Totally free, which is always good for those of you who don't want to spend any extra coin on some player projections and stuff. Donnie Boone wants to go Monty Morris. My man Monty Morris, I think he had like 10 assists the last time he took the floor. So let's take a look at Monty Morris going up against the San Antonio Spurs. We don't discuss Monty Morris a whole lot here, but maybe we should. Over the last 10 games, Monty Morris, just a 50% hit rate. But when we look at the last 5, things get a lot more green. The hit rates go up. He's 4 out of his last 5, an 80% hit rate. And yes, against the Lakers, he did reach 10 assists. versus the Lake Show. He's averaging 4.5 for the season, 5.3 in the last 10, and a whopping 6.8 in his last 5. He needs 5 tonight if you plan on hitting the over. It looks like right now, the betting public taking the under at 4.5, but that's okay because we know the betting public has been wrong before, right? Over the last 3 meetings against the San Antonio Spurs, he's had assist outputs of 1, which is way less than 4.5, but that was at the start of the season. Things have changed a lot here for Monte Morris. He had 5 against them in December and 4 in their last meeting, which was December 11th. So overall, averaging 3.3 assists per game against the Spurs. But the form that he has been showing lately in his last 5 games gives you some hope, right? That maybe he can hit the over. When we look at the Spurs defense, they do rank just 11th in assists allowed, meaning they're giving up about 24 dimes per game to opposing point guards. Now we can take a closer look at how many assists they're giving up over the last 7 games to point guards. And for that, we use this DVP chart. We got to go all the way down to the bottom here, though, folks, because they're giving up the second fewest assists per game on average to opposing point guards. Now, good for us who are wanting to take the over on Monte Morris at 4.5 assists. He needs just 5. They're giving up close to 7. He needs just 5. So I think that there's some wiggle room here for a chance for him to get 5 dimes tonight. But who cares what I think, right? Let's take a look at his projections. Monte Morris, assist prop 4.5. And you can see that he is projected for 4.52. So just a 0.4% edge or difference in the RotoWire projections versus the PrizePicks line of 4.5. So there you go. Monte Morris could be an interesting option against the San Antonio Spurs. Let's take a couple more assist props. I see one that's really been hitting at a very, very nice clip. This guy right here, Thomas Satoransky, basically ever since he's entered the starting lineup for the Washington Wizards, my man has turned into John Stockton 2.0. 6.5 assists. It kind of sounds like a lot, but we're going to go look at the hit rates and you're going to see why Thomas Satoransky should be considered tonight at 6.5 dimes, right? So last 10 games, kind of like Jalen Green's charts, right? It's like a tale of 2 halves. The first 5 in the last 10, pretty ugly. But then he takes over here in the last 5 games, going for 7, 10, 13, 7, and 7, covering 5 out of 5, a 100% hit rate, averaging 8.8 assists in his last 5 games. Now he gets a friendly matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that's given up a healthy amount of assists per game. I mean, he's done it against tough teams like Boston. Dallas is a kind of a tough team defensively. Golden State, kind of a tough team defensively, right? So he's been able to hit 7 assists against some pretty tough teams. And then when he gets a friendly matchup like Orlando, he drops 13. Chicago, obviously, his former team, up-tempo type squad, drops 10 dimes. Well, Minnesota fits the bill as an up-tempo type of squad. And they're also giving up over 26 assists per game. That ranks them 28th, or almost second to last, we'll call it. They're giving up a lot of assists. We like the total at 237.5. So I think Satoransky's in a pretty good spot. We can possibly consider going back to him. Now, as far as point guards go, against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the last 7 games, they're giving up 10.1 assists per game to opposing point guards. That's the 5th highest or 5th most in that 7-game span. So yes, Satoransky is in a very nice spot tonight against this T-Wolves squad. All right, let's get you a projection on his assists. He is at 6.5 on PrizePicks. His projection is 4.3 tonight, which is a difference of 33.8%. I think we've discussed this in previous videos. I don't think that these projection systems, these algorithms, have caught up with Thomas Satoransky since he's joined the starting lineup for the Washington Wizards. Because we've seen this in the past, where he's been projected to go way under whatever his assist prop is for the day. So I'm going to kind of say fade the projections on Thomas Satoransky right now, because I just don't think that they're right, that they're accurate. But definitely cross-reference his projections on some of those other sites like NumberFire, like Betting Pros. But they've got him at 4.3, and I think that is entirely too low. Entirely wrong. So there you go. Let's take a look at one more assist prop. One more assist prop here. You guys have mentioned Anthony Edwards. Let's talk about him because he's been hitting his assists at 3.5 at a pretty good clip. We'll make that the last assist prop. But while we're discussing this one, be thinking about some rebound props that you guys want me to take a look at. I'll take a few different rebound props and we'll keep things moving. Anthony Edwards, probably best known for being a scoring machine, but lately he's been dropping dimes. He's been dropping some serious dimes, like one of those Coinstar machines, right? Look at his last 10 games, 80%. 80% at 3.5 dimes. Averaging 4.4 in that span. Things get even better or greener in the last 5. 100% hit rate, averaging 5.2 assists in his last 5 games. Now, against the Wizards, he's played them just once, but he did finish with 3 assists in that game, so he came really close. But it would have been death by hook. That 0.5 at the end of the 3.5, that's known as the hook. So that's what I mean when I say death by hook, right? But overall, yes, the last 10 games, very good for Anthony Edwards, especially the last 5. So we go down, we look at this matchup against Washington. They ranked just 7th in assists allowed, giving up 23.4. So on paper, the matchup does look a little bit daunting. It looks tough. It looks like a challenge here for my man Ant Edwards. We go down and we look at the Washington Wizards. When it comes to shooting guards in the last 7 games, they're giving up about 5.2 assists per game. Now, I also want to take a look at small forwards because the way that the Minnesota Timberwolves start their players, they've got Patrick Beverley at point guard. They've got D'Angelo Russell at shooting guard. And then Anthony Edwards is technically playing the small forward spot. So I want to look at both shooting guards and small forwards, both wing positions. So when we take a look at the Washington Wizards and small forwards, they are giving up just 2.7 assists per game, the second fewest in the last 7 games. We can round it up and call it 3, but 3 wouldn't be enough to get us over the hump at 3.5. So, not the best matchup on paper in the world. Last but not least, we're going to pull a projection up using RotoWire today, switching it up a little bit, showing you guys some of the free tools that exist for your player prop research. So Anthony Edwards at 3.5 on PrizePicks. He's projected for 3.4 using RotoWire, which is a difference of 2.7%. So RotoWire thinks he's going to finish with less than 3.5. Now 3.4 is still more than 3. But ideally, we would like to see that projection over 3.5. In this case, it's not. But if you wanted to take the over on Edwards, I could not fault you for that. Could not fault you. So there you go. There's some different assist props for you to consider. Let's take a look at some of the rebound props. I know this guy, Joel Embiid, was at 14 rebounds. He's now been bumped down to 13.5. I've seen him at 12.5 on some other sites. So maybe he's one that we take a look at. But go ahead and start leaving me some rebound props if you haven't yet. Some props that you want me to take a look at when it comes to boards. I'm going to refresh props.cash and take a swig of water. Appreciate everybody joining me this morning. If you have not slapped that like button, do so now. We're going for 100 likes. I'm not sure if we're there yet or not. I don't have eyes on that situation, but if you guys can definitely hit that like button, that would make me a happy camper. That would keep me happy. All right, so looking at some of the rebound props, the last 10 games, who's been getting the job done on the boards? Well, Steven Adams is up here at 8.5 rebounds. That seems very low for him. A 90% hit rate. We'll have to check into that one a little bit more if he's up on the PrizePicks board. We've also got Rudy Gobert, Desmond Bane, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis, and Joshua Primo, all at a 70% hit rate. From there, we got Rozier, Pirtle, Beverly, Barton, Jones, Gordon, Green, Hachimura, and Brown, all at a 60% hit rate. And then things really start to fall off from there, 50% or worse for the rest of those guys. Let's see some of these props that you guys are liking here, though. We're going to talk some of your favorite rebound props. Punchline says, everybody be careful with these picks. NBA players get a cut off of your losses, beginning to believe that they're messing up people's parlays on purpose. Oh, sounds like a interesting situation there. I have not heard of that. Donnie Boone says Brown is going to get at least 12 boards. Are you talking about Big Moses Brown? Big Moses right here going up against my man Mo Bamba. A battle of the Mo's. Mo Brown versus Mo Bamba. MB versus MB. Let's talk about Moses Brown. Now listen. Moses Brown kind of came out of nowhere, right? With all the injuries to the Cleveland Cavaliers front court, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Moses Brown has come out of left field and has seized an opportunity as the starting center for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So let's take a look at Moses Brown here. Some of you folks are expecting big things out of Moses Brown going up against the Orlando Magic and Mo Bamba. You're going to look at Moses Brown's game logs over the last 10. You're going to be like, this stinks. But it's really the last 5 games, last 4, and really the last 3 out of the last 5 that shine here for Moses Brown. He had 13 big boards against Clint Capella and the Hawks. 13 big boards against the likes of Mitchell Robinson and the New York Knicks. 12 big boards against Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. Wait, did Embiid play that game? Now I don't know. I think Embiid might have played. Yeah, Embiid played. That's right. Because Moses Brown was going tit for tat, going toe-to-toe with Joel Embiid in that game. I remember now. Anyway, yes, Moses Brown over the last 3 games, 13, 13, and 12. He's a big body, and he can pull in some boards, as he has shown here over the last 3 games. Now, he did play Orlando back on March 28th, which was just, like a week or so ago? Not that long ago. Had just 3 rebounds, but he had not come into his current minutes total that he's getting now. So over the last 3 games, he's gotten 26 minutes, 30 minutes, and 19.9 minutes. I mean, even this game here against Dallas had 21 minutes. But against Orlando, just to prove my point, just 6.6 minutes in that game. So that is why his rebound output was just 3. So if he gets, 25-ish minutes tonight, he should be in a pretty good spot against the Orlando Magic. Looking at the matchup against the Magic, Mr. Moses Brown playing the center spot for the Cavaliers, as we mentioned before. Orlando over the last 7 games, giving up 11.1 rebounds per game. That is the 3rd fewest. So I know you guys are quick to jump on the over on Moses Brown, but look, the Magic are giving up just 11.1 rebounds, the 3rd fewest. I'm not saying don't take Moses Brown over 9.5 boards. I'm just saying that it could be a little bit more difficult. Now, I will give you this. Orlando will not be running the same group of guys that they've been running over the last 7 games. We talked about it already. Orlando does not want to win basketball games. So it'll be Mo Bamba probably starting at center. But then from there, it gets quite ugly. No Wendell Carter Jr. I doubt Jalen Suggs plays. I really doubt that Cole Anthony plays. And I really doubt Franz Wagner plays. So it's going to be a lot of guys who are on the bench, who got called up from the G League. So Moses Brown could very well have his way with Mo Bamba and company. So I don't mind you taking a shot on that. Last but not least, let's pull a projection up for Moses Brown. He is at 9.5 rebounds, but is projected for 11.4 according to RotoWire. That is a difference of 20.4%. So the projection models here on RotoWire really liking some Moses Brown for at least 10 boards. So there you go. All you Moses Brown lovers, all you lovers of Brown's boards, there you go. Punchline saying that the last week of NBA games is not going to live up to the hype. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier in the show. There's a lot of teams out there that are tanking, that want to lose. There's a lot of teams that are already locked into a playoff spot who are trying to get their guys, their starters, their key figureheads, some rest. So just be careful, be careful. Try to pick your spots. Be a little more choosy with your props. You ain't got to take them all. You ain't got to force it. If it ain't there, don't force it. All right. Let's see. Rudy Gobert, Tiger 15 first. He's wanting to look at some Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert. Let's take a look at him. They've already got NBA second half props posted up on the board. Oh, that's interesting. All Atlanta Hawks too. Huh. All right, let's look at Rudy Gobert. Gobert, he's been kind of, we'll call him mercurial, right? Mercurial in terms of rebounds lately. He can smash. We know he can go for 20 rebounds if he wants to, but then there's games where he just like falls off the face of the earth. Anyway, Rudy Gobert, 13.5 boards. He's going up against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. So 13-5. Steven Adams and company probably going to be the matchup. We look at him over the last 10 games at 13.5. We see a pretty strong hit rate of 70%. Now, he did go through this little stretch of 3 games here where he had 9, 4, and 11. That's what I mean when I say mercurial. But the last 4 games for Rudy Gobert, much improved. 19 against Charlotte. Not a good team. 16 against the Clippers. 17 against the Lakers. And 20 against the Golden State Warriors. So he has been dominant on the glass, getting 16 or more rebounds in 4 straight games. Now, tonight he's going up against Memphis. He has played Steven Adams and the Memphis Grizzlies just once. It was way back in November. But in that game, he managed 13 rebounds. So, 13 rebounds in about 34 minutes of court time. So he had plenty of time to hit 14 boards. Just couldn't get it done. So let's take a look at the Grizzlies here. 6th in total rebounds allowed, 11th in offensive rebounds allowed, and 6th in defensive rebounds allowed. Not the easiest matchup. For Rudy Gobert. Looking at the last 7 games, the center spot, we're going to go find the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies are giving up 13.8 boards. He needs 14 to hit the over. So you're asking him to collect darn near every rebound that the Memphis Grizzlies give up on average. Could be a tough task for Rudy Gobert. Memphis is giving up just the 9th most rebounds to the center spot over the last 7 games. All right, getting you a projection on Rudy Gobert's boards. He's at 13.5 on PrizePicks, but he is projected for 16.1. Let's just round this off to 16.2. Let's call it 16.2 projected rebounds. That's a difference of about 20%, according to RotoWire. So they seem to really like Rudy Gobert. Again, if you're into projections and stuff, cross-reference this, use NumberFire, Betting Pros. Those are some free sites for you to take a look at. But Gobert, based on what I'm seeing here, looks like he's in a pretty decent spot. Could get it done. He ended up with 13 against Steven Adams in Memphis the last time they played. Has been rebounding a lot better, though, right? Over the last few games. One of the ones that you guys are mentioning here, my man, Everyday Fantasy. Everyday Fantasy is wanting to take a look at Gordon at 6.5 boards. He's talking about Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets. 6.5 rebounds against the San Antonio Spurs. Let's take a look at former Orlando Magic man, Aaron Gordon. All right, the last 10 games for AG at 6.5 rebounds, 60%. Not terrible. When we look at the last 5, 80%. All right, it's getting better. 80%. Let's see who he's hit these rebounds on. 9 against Oklahoma, not a good team. 7th against Charlotte, you know that they're not very good. 8 against Indiana, again, one of the worst teams in the league. 8 against the Los Angeles Lakers. Look, they're not very good either. Despite all the names that they have on their team, they're not very good either. So he's picking on some pretty bad teams here over the last 5 games. He's being a little rebound bully against some of these bottom feeders like Oklahoma City, Charlotte, and Indiana. Even LA, man, we got to throw him in there as a bottom feeder. I'm sorry, Lakers fans. Now, against San Antonio this season, he's faced the Spurs 3 times, has not hit the over at 6.5 rebounds in any of those games. Had 5 back in October, had 6 in the December matchup, and then 4 in that rematch in December. So he is 0 for 3 against the Spurs. 0 for 3 against the Spurs so far this season. Now, the Spurs defense is pretty friendly when it comes to rebounds. They rank 26th in total boards, 28th in offensive rebounds allowed, and 24th in defensive rebounds allowed. So not a team that we really fear or fade players against when it comes to rebounds. We're going to look at the power forward spot. We're going to go find the San Antonio Spurs, and they're right there at the top of the board. The last 7 games, they have given up 13.7 rebounds per game, the first most. In other words, this is the best possible matchup for Aaron Gordon to find 7 rebounds tonight. Now, we're also going to look at the small forward spot, and I only say that because it sounds like Jeff Green is going to be playing tonight for Denver, and when Jeff Green plays, him and Aaron Gordon are kind of interchangeable at those forward spots. Like, who's the small forward? Who's the power forward? I don't know. It's not for me to say. Both of these guys are forwards, combo forwards, we could call them. But nonetheless, when we look at the small forward spot, San Antonio is still up there pretty high, giving up 8.6 rebounds to opposing small forwards. So I think either Jeff Green or Aaron Gordon should be in for a pretty good night when it comes to rebounds. But Aaron Gordon at 6.5, he does have a path to success here. Lastly, we're pulling up a projection for you. AG's at 6.5 on PrizePicks. He is projected for 7.36 rebounds to be exact, according to the RotoWire projection tools, which is a difference of 13.3%. They think you should be taking the over based on their projection models. So there you go. Everyday fantasy. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. Wow, the likes just went down with people. CJ takes his time out of his day to help y'all. Crazy world we live in. Listen, that's all right. Let people do what they want to do. I mean, if they want to drop some likes, they could drop some likes. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. Steven Adams is one that you guys are clamoring about. He's at 8.5 boards, which seems like a low number. We got a guy like Steven Adams at 8.5. We've got this guy, Jakob Poeltl, at 8.5. When I see guys like that who are quality rebounders, you know, I get a little excited, man, because both of these guys have double-digit rebound upside on any given night. So Steven Adams at 8.5 rebounds. Let's go ahead and talk about Mr. Steven Adams here. We already mentioned him a minute ago. 90% hit rate over the last 10 games at 8.5 rebounds. So taking a look at the last 10 game logs here, he's averaging 11.4 rebounds. He's at 8.5. 11.2 in his last 5. He had 9 games in a row where he had gone over 8.5 rebounds until he ran into the San Antonio Spurs, fell short with just 8 boards against them. Now against Utah this season, I will give you this. He's 0 for 2 against Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz when it comes to covering 8.5 boards. He had 8 and he had 7. So not the easiest matchup in the world. We know Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower, as they like to call him, a tough one, a tough matchup. Looks like the betting public right now taking the over. He's a minus 122 betting favorite to go over 8.5 boards. Now we go down and we look at the Utah defense. It's a sea of red. They rank first in total rebounds, 9th in offensive rebounds, 1st in defensive rebounds, and 4th against opposing centers. So yeah, he's in for a tough night tonight. The last 7 games, the Utah Jazz are giving up a pretty healthy number, 14.9 boards. Let's call it 15, about 15 boards. My man Steven Adams needs to find 9 out of those 15 rebounds allowed. You can see where they rank, kind of like middle of the pack, right? Middle of the pack. Looking at a projection for Steven Adams, we talked about him at 8.5 on PrizePicks, projected for 9.53 over on RotoWire, which is a difference of 12%. Oh, Lord. Punchline says 177 people watching, but 74 likes. Run those likes up to 100. Can we do it? There's 177 of you. You just got to move your thumb over that little thumbs up button. Smash that sucker, and then we could be into triple-digit likes. I'm taking the over at 99.5 likes on the live stream. Hit the over. Let's do it. Let's hit the over. But yeah, Steven Adams projected for 9.5 boards. So the projection models seem to really favor my man Steven Adams here. What do you guys think? You taking the over on Steven Adams at 8.5 rebounds? Are you going to take a shot? 8.5 boards versus Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz. Kind of a tough matchup, but the number's nice at 8.5, I think. Let's take a look at some other rebound props. I'm going to take one more. One more rebound prop. Let's see what you guys got here. Knicks Rashad for life. Drummond rebounds. Let's do it. Let's go Andre Drummond rebounds. Now, we are worried a little bit about this game blowing out, but we know that the matchup and the total and everything is juicy. It's juicy. There's going to be opportunities for Andre Drummond going up against Alperen Şengün. That is his matchup tonight. Do you think Drummond wins this battle against Şengün? I kind of think he does, right? Let's go take a look at Andre Drummond. 11.5 big boards are needed here for Andre Drummond. So he's got to hit 12. He's got to hit 12 or more. Looking at the last 10 games for Drummond, he has covered this in 4 out of 10 or 40%. One thing that we could also take a look at here is in games in which the Brooklyn Nets have won by 10 or more points, Andre Drummond just 1 for 5. 1 for 5 in the games in which Brooklyn has won by 10 or more points. Now, I don't know if he was with Brooklyn just yet on February 14th. So really, we could just look at the last 4 games and say that he's 1 for 4 or 25%. Okay. So not the greatest hit rates in games in which Brooklyn has won by 10 or more points. And I only bring that up because they are projected to win by 10 or more points tonight. Going up against Houston. 21st in total rebounds allowed, 26th in offensive rebounds allowed, and 20th in defensive rebounds allowed. So things looking pretty good on paper here for Drummond in this matchup. The Houston Rockets giving up the 3rd most rebounds per game to opposing centers, over 17.3 rebounds allowed. Again, Andre Drummond needs to find a dozen or 12 rebounds. Good matchup. But I am concerned that he's just 1 for 4 in covering his rebounds in games in which Brooklyn has won by 10 or more. His projection today is 10.83 rebounds, which, if we round that up, call it 11 boards. 11's still a pretty good rebounding game, but it's not more than 11.5. So they suggest you bet the under. 5.8% lower at 10.8 projected rebounds versus the 11.5. Are you guys taking the over or under on Andre Drummond? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Eduardo Martinez is projecting the over on 110.5 likes. Well, I think once the replay goes up, I rock with that. I think we could get over 110.5 likes. I'm always aiming for over 99.5 likes while we do this live. I mean, with 170 plus people, you would think that we could get there, right? You would think that we could get there. Anyway, we've talked plenty about points, assists, and rebounds. We'll quickly take a look at PRA. And I say quickly because a lot of the PRA is made up of your high-hitting points scores, your high-hitting rebounders, your high-hitting assist props. So if you have any PRA options you want me to take a look at, let me know, chat. But just kind of take a look at the top of the board here, the guys who are hitting at the highest rates. Aaron Gordon, Keldon Johnson, Miles Bridges, and Matisse Thybulle, surprisingly, have all hit their PRA props in 7 out of their last 10. From there, it's a whole long list of players hitting at 60%. I will not go through them all, but there's a lot of players hitting at 60%. So PRA today, not any particularly high hitters here at like 80, 90% or anything like that, but 70 and a whole lot of 60% hitters. So you guys let me know if there's some PRA options you want me to take a look at for you. We got Nick leaving Joel Embiid PRA. We've got Donnie mentioning Karl Anthony Towns PRA. I think those are two good ones we could start with. I think we could start with both of those. Joel Embiid going up against Indiana tonight. We know the matchup is right. Indiana's front court, just terrible. Really, really bad, right? So let's take a look at Embiid. He is obviously got his pedal to the metal, his foot on the gas. He would probably like to bring home an MVP award. Over the last 10 games for Embiid at 50.5 PRA. He's got a 40% hit rate. It's a high number, man. 50.5 is a big number. Looking at his last 5 games, you can kind of see what he's been up to. 55 against Phoenix, 55 against Detroit, 64 against Cleveland. So he's 3 out of his last 5, 60% hit rate, and he's averaging 54.6 PRA in that span. No previous games, surprisingly, against the Pacers this season. But he is in a very good spot. Very good spot versus the Pacers. They rank 25th in total points allowed, 26th against opposing centers. So I think Joel Embiid's got a really good shot here. So let's go find Indiana and see how many points, plus rebounds, plus assists they're giving up to centers over the last 7 games. They're giving up about 25, let's call it 26 points, about 15 rebounds. So we're at like 41 PRA and about 5 assists. So that's like 46 PRA. 46 PRA, and then you sprinkle in the fact that this is Joel Embiid we're talking about here. One of the best centers in the game, right? So we move forward. We get you a projection on Embiid's PRA. He's at 50.5 on PrizePicks. They've got him projected for 47.2, which is not enough to get him over 50.5. It's a difference of 6.4%. So they think he is going to go under 50.5 PRA. Hunter dropping some news. He says that PrizePicks has released their taco options inside of the PrizePicks Discord. So make sure that you guys go over there, vote on a quality player in a quality spot. All right. Let's make sure we make this taco a good taco. So there's Joel Embiid for PRA. You guys also mentioned another quality big man, Mr. Karl Anthony Towns. He's going up against the Washington Wizards tonight. He's at 38.5 PRA, going up against Kristaps Porzingis and the Wiz. So let's take a look at Towns together. He's at 39.5 by default, according to props.cash. We bump him down to 38.5. His hit rate's 50%. Now for me, I think I play more Karl Anthony Towns fantasy points because he is a guy who can get you some blocks, can find a steal. You know what I'm saying? So I've played some Karl Anthony Towns for fantasy points in the past, and he's done pretty well for me. So at 38.5 against the Wizards this season, played them once, ended up with 45 PRA in that game. That was back in December. So he did crush against Washington. That was pre-Porzingis. So, take that for what you will. I don't know if Porzingis makes him a whole lot better defensively. But Porzingis was not there in that case. Looking at the last 7 games, let's go find the Washington Wizards. They're giving up about 21 points, about 10 boards. So you're already looking at like 31 PRA, plus about 4 assists. Call it about 35 PRA. They're not giving up a whole lot of PRA to opposing centers in the last 7 games. So there's that. Towns for PRA, 38.5. His projected PRA, 37.5, according to RotoWire. So he's 1 PRA less than his line at 38.5, a difference of about 2.5%. All right. Let's see. What's another PRA option you guys are liking here? Yeah, Şengün's not bad, Douglas. Şengün, not a terrible guy, not a terrible player. We mentioned Aaron Gordon for rebounds, but he's been playing good. I mean, whether it be points, rebounds, whatever. He's been playing pretty good. Daniel Rodriguez mentioning Keldon Johnson. Trey Prince saying Johnson & Johnson are lucky. You guys are liking some Keldon Johnson with DeJounte Murray out tonight. Let's take a look at Keldon Johnson. He's going up against the, is it the Denver Nuggets? Yeah. He's at 30.5 PRA, it looks like. 30.5 PRA. So let's go take a look at my man Keldon here. I mean, somebody's going to have to step up with DeJounte Murray out, right? So Keldon Johnson over the last 10 games has gone 7 for 10, 70% hit rate. We could also look at the season view. We could remove DeJounte Murray from the mix. Without DeJounte Murray this season, at 30.5 PRA, he is covered in 3 out of 9, 33% hit rate. More importantly, the last 2 games without DeJounte Murray, more recent samples, 32 PRA and 32 PRA. Both of those games were against the Portland Trail Blazers. So he barely got over at 32 PRA in 2 games against Portland without DeJounte Murray. So we'll go back to the last 10-game view. Has not played Denver this season. I'm sorry. Let's look at that again. There we go. Has played Denver this season. Has not played Denver without DeJounte Murray. That's what we were looking at. So this will be the first time he faces off against Denver without Murray. But in 2 previous matchups against the Nuggets, he had 33 PRA in one, 19 PRA in the other. So he's 1 out of 2 or 50% at covering 30.5 PRA. But he does have a nice little streak going here in the last 4 games, 34, 34, 32, and 32. So he's gone over his PRA in 4 straight. And like we mentioned, these last 2 were without Murray. So not a bad situation for Keldon Johnson. Now, as far as Denver's defense, 13th in points allowed, 4th in rebounds allowed, and 21st in assists allowed. And they rank just 30th against opposing shooting guards. So let's go find the Denver Nuggets. We're going to look at both small forward and shooting guard. We'll start by looking at shooting guard first. They are giving up in the last 7 games about 25 points per game, about 5.5 rebounds. So that's already like 30 PRA plus 5 assists. That's like 35, 36 PRA allowed to shooting guards. Looking at the small forward spot, 22.5, about 7 boards. That's 29.5 and about 4.5 assists. It's about 33, 34 PRA allowed to small forward. So he's in a pretty good spot against the Nuggets, whether you call him a shooting guard or small forward, right? And then last but not least, we'll get you a projection here at 30.5 PRA on PrizePicks. They got him projected for 29.6, which is a difference of 2.8%. They think you should be leaning toward the under based on their projections. So there you go. Keldon Johnson. KJ. Got a lot of different, a lot of other different options up here for PRA. I'm seeing some DeMar DeRozan being mentioned, Terry Rozier under PRA being mentioned, Garrison Matthews PRA, Drew Holiday PRA. Well, I can't take them all. But I will take what is probably the most popular name out of the ones that you guys are mentioning. Let's go DeMar DeRozan PRA. We have not talked any DDR or DeMar DeRozan. That's the long form of his name. Let's see, where is he at? Is he up on the PrizePicks board? Do they have I missed him? Let me look. Well, he's not even up on the board right now. Interesting. Did they pull the Bulls? Maybe something happened with the Bulls. Did they release some Bulls news? Or are they just keeping... Yeah, there's no Bulls up on the board. Is there any breaking news with the Bulls, or have they just not been up? I thought they were up. We talked about the Bulls earlier. Oh, Levine questionable. That'll do it. That will definitely do it. All right. Well, let's move on from PRA then. Let's look at the 3-point makes. Is there any 3-point props? Man, they actually have given us quite a few 3-point makes up on the board today. Let's take a look at those. Again, we could use Props.Cash to help with our research. If you want to check out Props.Cash, guys, first month, 25% off on me. Use code Curry, link down in the description below. And you can still get a 100% instant deposit match on PrizePicks as well. If you guys want to play on PrizePicks, maybe you don't yet. Maybe you've never heard of PrizePicks and this is your first time. Take advantage. They just pulled the Bulls down. Okay. I was wondering what was going on. Anyway, looking at the 3-point props here, we've got 4 different guys hitting at 80%, including Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota T-Wolves. We got Trae Young at 2.5 threes. He's got an 80%, but he's at 3.5 on PrizePicks. LaMelo Ball's another guy at 2.5 3-point makes, an 80% hit rate for him. Tyrese Maxey at 1.5, 80% for him. So the top 4 highest hitting 3-point props, we will not get those right now. They are not up on the PrizePicks board. But we do get a shot here at Donovan Mitchell, who's at 3.5 3-point makes. He's been hitting at a 70% hit rate. Jaren Jackson Jr., 70%. CJ Ellaby, 70%. Don't think I want to go there, but pretty impressive. DeMar DeRozan at 0.5 3-point makes, 70%. Mike Conley, 70%. Kyrie Irving, 70%. So that's another one. What 3-point props are you guys liking? Any? I see some people wanting to vote for DeMar DeRozan in case Zach LaVine doesn't play tonight. Well, while you guys are trying to figure things out, I'll talk about some Donovan Mitchell at 3.5 3-point makes. Let's pull him up here. So he has been shooting the basketball pretty well from beyond the arc. We look at the last 10 games for Mitchell. He's gone 7 out of his last 10, or 70%. Now, things have gotten a little worse here over the last 5. Still has some pretty good shooting performances, hitting 4 against the Hornets, 4 against the Lakers, and 4 against the Warriors. But then in between there, sandwiched in between there, 1 against Dallas, none against the Clippers. And then against Memphis this season, one previous matchup, he made just 3 3-pointers against Memphis. In that one, he would have fallen short based on today's line of 3.5. Grizzlies, kind of just an average team in guarding the 3-point shot. 12th in total threes allowed, 13th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. So, not the easiest nor worst matchup for Donovan Mitchell. And then over the last 7 games against the Memphis Grizzlies, they've given up about 1.8 3-point makes in the last 7 games to opposing shooting guards. So that is the first fewest or the most difficult or worst matchup for Donovan Mitchell that you could ask for. So maybe we back off taking the over on Donovan Mitchell at 3.5 tonight. What do you guys think? It's looking kind of dicey. It's looking kind of bad. Let's see. Do we have a 3-point prop? We do. We have a projection of 3.15 to be exact. 3-point makes for Donovan Mitchell. He's at 3.5 on PrizePicks. So that's a difference of about 10%. So according to the RotoWire projections, they think you should be leaning toward the under. They think you should be leaning toward the under on Donovan Mitchell at 3.5 3-point makes. Twan, what do you mean by that? PrizePicks is turning Jake. Well, they always remove player props from the board whenever a player, a big player, becomes questionable. So what do you mean by them turning janky? What does that mean? Let's see. What else do we have here? Anybody else worth talking about for 3-point makes? I mean, they're keeping a lot of the good ones away from us. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving against Houston. Some of you guys mentioned his points earlier, but we could also take a look at his 3-point makes. I think both of those are solid options for Kyrie if you think he has a good night tonight against Houston. Over the last 10 games for Kyrie, 7 out of 10, or a 70% hit rate. So he's been doing a good job of shooting the basketball. He's averaging 4.7 3-point makes over the last 10 games. So I think Kyrie could be in a good spot. Houston, 20th ranked in 3-pointers allowed, 16th ranked in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. And we talked about it before. They are the worst in the league at defending the point guard position. So we'll head to point guard. We'll look at the 3-point makes. We'll find the Houston Rockets. Houston all the way down at the bottom, giving up just 1.7 3-point makes to opposing point guards over the last 7 games. So they are giving up the second fewest threes to point guards in that span. Last but not least, Kyrie. 3-point makes. He's at 3.5 on PrizePicks, projected for 3.84 according to RotoWire. That's a difference of nearly 10%. So there you go. Maybe Kyrie is worth a look. He is being projected very well. Very well. Kevin saying that the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell are banned for life. They're a joke. What's up, Mr. Calvin Ridley? Happy Taco Tuesday to you. Trill Fate, PrizePicks has started removing players much faster this year. They're on their game, man. They're on their game. They definitely are, you know. But whenever they make a move, you know, we just have to counter that move. We have to try to stay a step ahead. Now, as far as free throw makes go, we don't have a whole lot of options right now. It's just Joel Embiid and James Harden, a couple of Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid, you know, he's got free throw upside anytime he takes the court. And tonight he gets a really good matchup against Indiana. I could see a whole lot of Goga Bitadze handprints being left on Joel Embiid's arms tonight. I could see a lot of fouls going down. And if it's not Bitadze, maybe it's O'Shea Brissett. I don't know who they're going to try and throw at Embiid. They don't really have anybody that can guard this man. So yeah, I could see a situation where Embiid finds his way to the free throw line quite a bit. Now, Harden at 8 free throw makes is also in a good spot. He's hit 8 or more in 4 out of his last 5. So Harden obviously is worth consideration as well. But hopefully they add more free throw props. Sucks they've only got 2 up right now, but I'm sure more will come as the night goes on. And then last but not least, we got blocks and we got steals. Blocks and steals, you could call them stocks. Stocks, meaning steals and blocks, however you want to phrase it. But yeah, we got a couple of Raptors up here. Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent Jr. So we could quickly take a look at their hit rates, and we can do that by using props.cash. So we go down to steals and blocks, last 10 games. We'll filter by game, Atlanta versus Toronto. You can see over the last 10, Gary Trent Jr.'s got a 60% hit rate, currently being bet over at 1.5. And then we've also got Pascal Siakam at 1.5, a 50% hit rate. He's also a betting favorite to go over at minus 125. So there's that. Let's see if we could get you some projections on these two dudes for their steals and blocks. Well, for Siakam at 1.5, projected for 2.02. So that's a 34.6% difference. So the RotoWire projections thinking Siakam over 1.5 steals and blocks is the move. And then as far as Gary Trent Jr., he's at 1.5 as well. Also projected for 2 steals and blocks, which is an over by 37.4%. So that's about it, guys. That is about it. What do we think of today's NBA slate? I know a lot of you guys are preoccupied voting on tacos, talking about which players, which tacos you want to vote on. Hopefully you guys vote in some good tacos for us tonight. David, I see you mentioned the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. I think you were talking about Porzingis for his 3-point makes. I took a look at that one too. I thought that could be a worthwhile option. Just getting you a projection on that Porzingis 3-point prop. He's at 1.5. He's projected for about 1.5 as well. So you're looking at kind of a coin flip situation. But that's about it, man. That is about it for today's NBA slate. Definitely go over to the official PrizePicks Discord. Make sure you're voting on that taco. Keep an eye out on Twitter. PrizePicks is going to be posting another taco typically out on Twitter for you guys to vote on. I appreciate all you folks for tuning in. Let's run those likes up. Slap the like button on your way out. I'm going to get out of here. If you're in Patreon, if you're in Discord, that's where you're going to find me. I'm going to continue the conversation, continue the player prop research with you guys, you patrons out there. So I will see you inside Discord, and we'll decide what we're going to do. What we're going to do about today's tacos on Taco Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday to you guys. Good luck tonight and peace out.